tonight's Rage main event. Something extra special and out of the ordinary as the big bad booty daddy Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner gets set to face the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal for the first time ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's Rage main event is scheduled for one fall with 15-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle from Detroit, Michigan, weighing in at 275 pounds, it's Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner.
Welcome back, Scott Steiner. It's been about 6 months since we saw him last. He challenged Paul Orndorff for the Mid-Atlantic title and lost. Well, now Scott Steiner's back tonight, wants to try out the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, for himself. One could make the argument, Myron, that Scott Steiner has decided to face Jinder Mahal because he's 3-0. The modern-day Maharaja, having lost his previous 3 matches, perhaps giving some encouragement to Big Papa Pump.
I hope that isn't his reason, because that doesn't really track for me. Scott Steiner may be brash, maybe a little arrogant, and yeah, really bad in mathematics, but I can't see Big Papa Pump in the role of a coward. It's just not in his nature.
I think you're right, Christy. Scott Steiner never does anything out of fear. He does these things because he's not smart. He also boasts the loudest, most annoying theme song in all of wrestling.
His opponent, from the Punjab, India, weighing 234 pounds, the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal.
Well, Donnie, it's like you said. Jinder Mahal has dropped his last 3 matches, has not looked very good after a very impressive start. Now he's come back after like a week, 2 weeks away, hopefully with a reset. We're going to have to see how he does against Scott Steiner, who outweighs him, outpowers him. I don't know if there's going to be a 4th loss or not.
I'm gonna say it again, Myron baby.
Say what again?
On this week's bookings, for stars, for our Mr. Schimmelman, no way can this main event be anything but banging. Wonder if Jinder's time away will be a help or a hindrance.
Well, we're about to find out, Christy. We most certainly are Jinder Mahal. Certainly looking ready to go here against Scott Steiner. Once again, another first-time encounter, and what a main event! Big Papa Pump and the modern-day Maharaja, Willie Johnson, rings the bell, off we go. Jinder Mahal winds up the arms. Scott Steiner counters with a kick and a right, and a kick to the midsection. A clubbing overhand right takes Jinder Mahal down to the canvas. Jinder Mahal slams Scott Steiner down, follows it up with a stomp. Jinder Mahal with a down Scott Steiner. Well, excuse me, Scott Steiner right back up on his feet, takes him right down to the canvas. Jinder Mahal suddenly finds himself on the wrong side of the tracks. A kick to the head, and wow, this one's going back and forth already. Within the first 30 seconds, this one's pretty heated. Jinder Mahal rounds up Scott Steiner. Steiner with a kick, a couple of shots, another kick, and another clubbing overhand right that takes Jinder Mahal down. Mahal right back up again. Wow, how about this? Scott Steiner catches a neck breaker from Jinder Mahal. Jinder making his way to the top turnbuckle. Here's Scott Steiner laid out. Here's an elbow drop right across the chest of the big bad booty daddy. Scott Steiner catches a stomp to the arm. Jinder Mahal liked it so much he's going to do it a second time. Follows it up with a stomp and a kick. Scott Steiner suddenly on the defensive again. A kick to the midsection from Jinder Mahal. A series of shots and down. What a hard right took Scott Steiner down. Jinder Mahal lines up the arm. Look at this submission here. Referee Willie Johnson checking things out. Scott Steiner finds his way out. Scott Steiner with Jinder Mahal down on the canvas now. The big bad booty daddy catches an elbow to the midsection from Jinder Mahal. A kick. And a series of shots. Oh, another kick to the midsection. Jinder Mahal carrying Scott Steiner halfway across down front cradle. Hangs him up off the top rope. Mahal going for an immediate cover. 1, 2. And almost a 3, but not quite. Scott Steiner kicking out of the pin. Jinder Mahal making his way to the top turnbuckle. Scott Steiner slowly making his way back up to a standing position. Here we go. Oh, Jinder Mahal misses the mark by just a couple of inches. Goes back to work delivering shots. Scott Steiner with elbows to the midsection of the modern-day Maharaja. Locks up Jinder Mahal. The power of Scott Steiner, look at this. Military press on Jinder Mahal, just lets him fall to the canvas, allowing gravity to do the work. Jinder Mahal counters with a kick, gets up to a standing position again. Another series of shots to Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner counters, finds his way off the ropes. Side suplex takes Jinder Mahal down. Scott Steiner cranking the head and neck of Jinder Mahal. And Scott Steiner certainly has demonstrated some resilience in this match. He has endured quite a bit of punishment already. Elbow drop right to the chest of Jinder Mahal. Steiner rounds up Jinder. Jinder counters with a right. Locks up Scott Steiner, a knee to the midsection. Steiner with a right. And a beautiful takedown of Jinder Mahal. A stomp to the head. Scott Steiner drives a knee into the head of Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal finding himself, look at this, Scott Steiner grinding and absolutely gouging the eyes of Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal back up on his feet. And he's gouging, in retaliation, the eyes of Scott Steiner. Jinder Mahal dragging Big Papa Pump as close to middle's ring as he can get him stomped to the midsection. And here we go. Jinder Mahal calling for it. Here's the camel clutch. The distant cousin of the Steiner recliner, as it were. Willie Johnson checking Scott Steiner. Oh my. Jinder Mahal's got it locked in, really. He is just bending Scott Steiner like a bow. Jinder Mahal covers. This could be it. 1. No! Only a 1. Scott Steiner quickly finding his way out of that pin. But Jinder Mahal definitely stalking Scott Steiner here. Goes behind, and here we go. He's setting up for the submission, but Scott Steiner says, no, you don't. Kick to the midsection from Jinder Mahal. Scott Steiner misses his grapple, winds up catching a series of lefts and rights and chops and kicks and everything in the book. There's another kick to the midsection. And whoa, what a suplex from Jinder Mahal. Scott Steiner laid out center ring. Here comes Jinder. Big time elbow across the chest. Jinder Mahal covers again. 1, 2, and whoa! Jinder Mahal taking Willie Johnson to task for his counting. A stomp to the chest of Scott Steiner. Another kick to the chest. Steiner back up on his feet, charges, takes him down with a shoulder tackle. Big Papa Pump drops the elbow with authority on the chest of Jinder Mahal. Hard right hands to the head of the modern-day Maharaja. And this match has certainly gone back and forth quite a bit so far. The eyes of Jinder Mahal being gouged again by Scott Steiner. This match, wow. Another quick counter from Jinder Mahal, who drives the knee of Scott Steiner into the canvas. Scott Steiner evades. Jinder Mahal evades. Jinder goes behind, locks up Scott Steiner. Has him up over the shoulder. Scott Steiner counters with a chop block, takes down Jinder Mahal center ring. And here we go. A battle of submissions. The Steiner recliner being employed by Scott Steiner. Jinder Mahal center ring. Nowhere he can go. Nothing he can do. Willie Johnson checking on the modern day Maharaja. Scott Steiner releases the hold. This could be the end here. Steiner covers. Hooks the leg. 1, 2. And oh man. Jinder Mahal forcefully getting that shoulder up. Wanted the referee to see that for sure. Scott Steiner rounds him up. Belly to belly suplex, and whoa. Down goes Jinder Mahal. A stomp to the midsection. Tries for the Steiner recliner a second time. Jinder Mahal says, I'd rather not if you don't mind. whips Scott Steiner to the far corner. A kick to the midsection. And a rake of the eyes across the top rope. Whoa, this one's gotten intense. Scott Steiner, slam, head first into the canvas. Jinder Mahal again stomps the arm of Scott Steiner. Gathers him up. Collar and elbow and turns him around. Whoa, neck breaker. Center ring. Scott Steiner suddenly on the receiving end of some bad business here. Jinder Mahal just going all kinds of off. Sets him up big time neck breaker drop. Jinder Mahal looks like he's going to make his way to the top turnbuckle in the far corner. Scott Steiner slowly making his way to his feet. And here comes Jinder Mahal. Misses with the flying shoulder. Well now. Jinder Mahal has to find a new strategy here. And here we go. Scott Steiner avoiding the submission yet again. A hard right to the head of Jinder Mahal. And here we go. What a pump handle slam from Scott Steiner, who again drops the elbow on the chest of Jinder Mahal. Jinder rounded up to a standing position again. A hard right and another spins him around from Scott Steiner. And a full Nelson bomb. And once more, there's that elbow drop across the chest, and he's going for the pin, but no, too close to the rope. The long legs of Jinder Mahal saving him from that one. But Scott Steiner now up on the middle rope as Jinder Mahal stands himself up. Double axe handle certainly finds the mark that time. Jinder Mahal charges, misses with the jumping neck breaker, catches a kick to the chest from Scott Steiner. And look at this. A deadlift military press from the big bad booty daddy. And down comes Jinder Mahal crashing. Oh, it sounded like a sack of spuds. A kick to the leg of Jinder Mahal. Big Papa Pump. Nails him with a right. Locks up Jinder. Up over the shoulder we go. Hung up over the top rope. Jinder Mahal on the canvas again. Scott Steiner quickly rounds him up. Goes for the belly to belly and nails it. Jinder Mahal finding himself in some serious trouble at this point. And this match has gone on for quite some time now. Scott Steiner covered. 1, 2. And again, I don't believe it. Jinder Mahal still in there punching. Catching stomps to the head from Scott Steiner. A kick to the midsection from Jinder and a kick to the face. But Scott Steiner. Jinder Mahal escorts him center ring. Follows it up with a stomp to the midsection. And once more, here we go again. The camel clutch applied to Big Papa Pump with nowhere to go, no means of egress. And that's it. He has just tapped out. The referee rings the bell. Jinder Mahal defeating Scott Steiner by submission.
Here's the time, 9 minutes and 54 seconds. Your winner by tap out, Jinder Mahal.
Alright fans, that puts another edition of RWL Rage into the books. We thank all of you, as always, for joining us and for being part of the RWL family. And coming up next, on Saturday, May 24th, RWL Snarl from Atlanta, Georgia. For all of us here, Christy, Marin, and myself, Don Hickson, thank you, good night, and we will see you next time at ringside. Good night, everybody.